Hello everyone. Today we're going to read Ryerson President Muhammad Lachemi's tarot cards. So a few weeks ago, one of our news editors at our last meeting with Lachemi actually had him cut this deck of tarot cards that is now imbued with his magical essence. Card number 1 is going to be the present card. So this card represents Muhammad Lachemi's current situation. We got the Men card. A lot of the cards have to do with very internal stuff, but the Men card is representing other people and other problems, and I don't want to say Doug Ford, but it's probably that. We're going to figure out what the challenge is, which is the second card, and it means the current problem that is facing this situation, that if it's solved, the whole thing can get a lot better. He got the Marriage card. So this one's really interesting because it doesn't necessarily always have to be romantic. In this situation, I can see marriage as almost like a deep partnership, almost like the Brampton expansion. He has these current relationships and these current commitments that he's trying to deal with. The problem is those commitments and how he's dealing with them and how these other people are dealing with them. So the third card is the Past card. So this card represents something that happened in the past that has influenced this current situation that he's in. So for his Past card, he got the Baby. Like, what this could mean is there's like a new project or something like starting and being born. Maybe the baby's the law school, or maybe it is how excited everyone was about Brampton getting a Ryerson campus, but what he's dealing with now is these relationships that might be affecting that in some way. The next card is going to be the Future card. This just means that it is the next step in the journey surrounding this problem. He got Travel for this one, which means that if stuff isn't necessarily working in Brampton or the law school's not working, maybe he has to go elsewhere, maybe he has to find other options and other places to work. A good example of this is Ryerson has a DMZ in India, so maybe he's going to be really investing in that one. The fifth card is going to be his Above card. This card represents the card about like what he's thinking consciously and what is his goals and what does he think that he wants in terms of the situation. You got the Thief. The opposite is Robbery. So with Thief, someone is stealing from you. So maybe you thought that when the Brampton expansion was cancelled or when Ontario wasn't going to support the law school, you felt robbed because you worked really hard on that. So the sixth card here is going to actually be the Below card. The Below is what might be subconsciously affecting you. So for your Below card, you got Fidelity. As opposed to the Loyalty, which is more of a promise, Fidelity is a little bit more casual. It's a little bit more of like an understanding or an agreement. So maybe as a subconscious, like you've been thinking this whole time that, you know, we are going to get the support of the Ontario government, but maybe this is what led to all this, is that maybe there was a little bit too much trust. So for your Advice card, Muhammad, you got the Trapped card, which is a really good one because the opposite of that is Promise. So Trapped might feel like you have no choice. So maybe this means reconsider maybe the ways that Ryerson doesn't really have a choice in some matters. So the eighth card is going to be the Outside influences. The outside influences might be the things that are affecting this, but that you might not necessarily be able to change. And you got Expression. So especially in terms of running a university, I can see Expression as your outside influence being like Ryerson has something to prove, you know, like we have to show people that we do have more than this and we are more than just Rye High. So maybe the outside influence here is that there has been this pressure, maybe these new things that you're trying to get started aren't necessarily working out because they might feel a little bit taken and you might have gotten a little bit too trusting of how that worked out. So the ninth card is going to be the Hopes and or Fears card. So you got the Triumph card. In this whole thing, you really wanted Brampton to work, you really wanted the law school to work, because like then you win, then Ryerson wins. Some sort of success was definitely what you were aiming for and hoping for, but then the fear of that is that it might all crash and burn. And so the last card, this is the Final Outcome card. So what this card means is that based on this whole thing, if you do not take the advice, if you're not aware of where you're coming from, where you started, where you're going, this is where you're going to end up. But it's always subject to change. And you got Protect, maybe Ryerson needs to defend themselves, and maybe needs to get like a little bit more of a safeguard in place if they ever want to get some stuff started, so that every 4 years a new government doesn't just shut it all down. So, Mohammed, this is your reading. This has been an eye-opener tarot card reading. I'm Jacob Dube, Editor-in-Chief, and we'll see you next time.